The Darkness Devil, the primal fear I mentioned earlier in this arc, and the first real threat Satoru Gojo will encounter in his time in this universe. A primal fear is a devil that has never once been killed, and therefore has resided in hell for millennia, ruling with all of its omnipotence and power. These devils usually embody a centralized and almost guaranteed fear in the eyes of humanity, which is why the fear of the dark, a common shared horror for almost all 8 billion of us, would clearly be one of the most powerful devils of all. The Darkness Devil represents an even greater strength than the Gun Devil, which we'll be getting into next, if Gojo survives, of course. In its appearance in hell, the Darkness Devil takes complete dominion over everything engulfed in darkness. And although the full scope of hell is unknown, the Darkness Devil in its appearance is able to cloak the entire visible area the characters reside in pitch black darkness, meaning its grasp extends to encompass at least a large town if put on a scale. And to be clear, when talking about scale, it completely matches Gojo in almost every category. Without going into long calculations, the known speedster of Chainsaw Man is Quan Chi, a legendary devil hunter and the first weapon hybrid, said to reach Mach 6 speed at her maximum, something that literally breaks Jujutsu Kaisen's limits. And although Gojo could probably outspeed Quan Chi with his instant teleportation, the Darkness Devil easily surpasses and blitzes this level of agility in its introductory fight with her, meaning for all intents and purposes, if Gojo is not pumping the gas on full speed this entire fight, the Darkness Devil may actually move at a minuscule quicker of a pace. Durability is also a massive problem when it comes to devils at the primal fear level. As stated by the Falling Devil, another primal fear we'll be getting into later, says the entire global human population with everything at its disposal does not yet have the power to actually vanquish a primal fear. Now, to be completely generous to this statement, the Chainsaw Man world does lack extremities like nuclear weapons, so at the bare minimum, I'm assuming it would take an attack of similar magnitude to a weapon of mass destruction to actually kill an entity like a primal fear, something at the very least capable of striking with the potency to destroy a large-scale town or city. This is something that Satoru Gojo, even with his own maximum output Hollow Purple, is not capable of. His uncontrolled, unlimited Hollow Purple that is released without any control measures was only able to destroy a couple city blocks. And if we are to use the strongest attack Gojo has ever shot off, we would have to scale the Hollow Purple that was fired at the very beginning of his fight against Sukuna. To start off that confrontation, Satoru Gojo used the full 100% power of his curse technique by chanting the ancient incantation of his ability. Every sorcerer has an incantation to their technique, but part of the efficiency of the sorcerer is being able to remove that incantation from the equation, but still maintaining as much power as possible. It will, however, be no doubt when an incantation is used, the technique is fully charged. And with the help of two friends, Yoshinobu Gakukanji and Utahime Iori, two other sorcerers that amplify another's cursed energy output and attack power through stat buffs, get Gojo up to a maximum 200% charged imaginary technique Hollow Purple, an ultimate attack that tears through an entire cityscape to make its way to Sukuna. And although it only takes off the King of Curses' arms, if it wasn't properly guarded against and shot at such a long range, it could have eliminated him on the spot. Getting to my point, when you consider all of this preparation wasn't even enough to kill Ryomen Sukuna, is this truly the power required to eliminate a primal fear? It also becomes even harder to imagine doing any damage when you consider the Darkness Devil is completely impervious to any damage it takes when inside the dark. And the fact that it casts a hanging shadow over the entire location it's holding dominion over basically means Darkness Devil can't be harmed unless Gojo's able to create his own light source, while in the meantime conjuring up enough attack power to completely hurt the devil. Because even if the stars align and Gojo is somehow actually able to land this crazy hit in a well-lit area, primal fears like the Darkness Devil, unlike most other devils, are not only able to regenerate at an instantaneous rate, they require little to almost no blood, which makes any landed strike seem ultimately pointless when you consider within moments the Darkness Devil will be able to completely heal from any damage it takes. Again, in this very specific, very generous scenario we're giving to Gojo so we can actually land a potentially potentially lethal hit. So in a battle where Gojo not only needs 2 people to buff him up and a period of preparation time to chant, including making him close enough range to produce the damage required, he also needs to do this in an area that's well lit enough, otherwise the attack will be completely nullified, and he also needs to strike an opponent that's just as fast as he is. The more I keep talking, the more this win condition becomes increasingly more and more unlikely, especially when even if every single thing goes right, this may not even be enough to kill the Darkness Devil, and it could just heal right back to square one for next to no cost of its stamina. It's hard to see this as not ironic somehow. Of course, considering all of this information, we're just gonna have to turn things around if this is actually the first opponent in Gojo's entire career he doesn't have enough firepower to eliminate. Hey, Editor No Op here. Just adding in one quick point. I know a lot of people are going to argue that Gojo could just domain expansion then to circumvent the regeneration. The problem with that is even if Unlimited Void worked and stunned the Darkness Devil to that of a vegetable, its body still would be too durable for Gojo to destroy. And because we've seen hybrids like Denji go from mental vegetation to mentally healthy again pretty quickly, it's to be assumed the Primal Fear would just heal its brain over time, perhaps even instantly. And at that point, it's just a game until Gojo's brain breaks from the repeated domains. But to be honest, with the Darkness Devil being some kind of unknown conceptual eldritch horror, that which isn't even understood to the same degree as a normal devil, you could even argue, and I wouldn't be mad at you, if you would say that the Darkness Devil just outright nullifies the effects of Unlimited Void, as the concept of darkness itself is impossible to have its thoughts and will scrambled, similar to that of a god or higher being. But either way, I don't think domain expansion makes a difference. Which means it's time to start talking about what the Darkness Devil can do to actually break through the limitless. As far as attack power and strength goes, just as powerful as it is in defense, the Darkness Devil is capable of terrifying offense. Able to use telekinesis that can tear people limb from limb over long distances, or command a sword of darkness, a well-decorated and enchanted blade to slice and dice enemies from afar, with enough attack power to even harm Makima. Pair this with comparable speed to Gojo, and the Darkness Devil can absolutely bring death to the Honored One if somehow able to get past his infinity. Out of its entire arsenal, the Darkness Devil does seem to have one ability that doesn't require any physical contact or involve tangible space, it seems, whatsoever. And that might actually stem from its eldritch horror-like existence. As being a primal fear, an entity humanity itself has trouble even comprehending or standing in the presence of, the Darkness Devil induces crippling fear or madness in the minds of those who bear witness to it. Even other devils like Power were traumatized beyond belief, and whenever they closed their eyes were tormented with visions and horror of the Darkness Devil's design. But more importantly, it means the Darkness Devil can use an insane mental attack that can vanquish even devils from within. Shown specifically against Angel, when locking eyes with the Darkness Devil, he began to bleed from his eye sockets, his brain hemorrhaging from behind his skull just from the gravity of the Darkness Devil's presence. It's unknown if this was an intentional mind attack or some kind of passive ability. But another very scary aspect of the Darkness Devil's attacks is its ability to negate any type of healing if it does deal damage. Especially from its mental attacks shown through Power, the Darkness Devil can leave everlasting pain on their opponents. And when you consider a sorcerer's brain to be their weak point, if Gojo's mind is ruptured or taking damage in this area interferes with his ability to heal, the Darkness Devil's innate negation of regeneration would even further prevent Gojo from getting out of this situation. So if Gojo's completely impenetrable from the outside, the Darkness Devil need only destroy the Honored One from the inside out using his most vulnerable point, completely stripping Gojo of what makes him such a threat in his own universe, that mad scientist brain. And considering Gojo's only win condition involves him enlisting 2 friends, and the Darkness Devil not only sitting around and waiting for that attack to land, but being in the same place as a convenient light source that the Darkness Devil chooses to not take out themselves or move away from, and having all of this bank on the fact that a 200% hollow purple is enough to actually eliminate the Darkness Devil and leave no trace or way to heal, I think it's pretty fair to say Gojo should be very scared of the dark.